Real quickly before we jump into the video, I want to let you guys know about something right now in Major Howard's. If you end up going to him today only, you have the opportunity to get a supply drop and 500 social score for simply watching content in the theater. We've seen this before, and it's as a result of CWL Seattle Championship Sunday going on today, but all you have to do is go into the theater. You can really just go in and back out immediately, and that'll be about a 30-second process, but it'll register as being completed, and you'll get a free supply drop as well as 500 social score. So that said, just didn't want you guys to miss out on this. So if you guys have the opportunity to log on today, make sure you take advantage of this. It's a nice little booster here for whatever you may be looking for. That said, let's jump into the regularly scheduled content. I won't lie, last week you guys totally destroyed my expectations for our little camo showcase that we did, talking about the best paint job camos of the week within Call of Duty World War II, and honestly, thank you guys so much for that. It was insane to see the support and the amount of responses you guys gave in that submission form in the description below. Honestly, again, blew me away entirely. So we have a lot of camos to showcase here at this one, and it seems like you guys definitely want to see more of these. So that said, again, there will be a link in the description below to submit for next week's as well. But I'm gonna show off 18 of the best camos within Call of Duty World War II as of this past week. So that said, hopefully you guys enjoy. Again, if you guys enjoy any in particular, let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you guys want to share yours for a future video, make sure you submit your creations via the form in the description below. But with all that said, let's just jump right into the camos because there are some incredible ones here this week. So first up, we're gonna start with a few honorable mentions, and again, I guess that kind of breaks the whole 18 camo showcase here with this. We're gonna start out with 5 of them though, real quickly, just breeze through those. Firstly, I wanna give a shout out to Epic Agent or Evolve for this awesome little looking NIRVANA camo. This one was a nice little one put together, and of course the gold camo on it also makes it a little bit prettier to the eye, that little gleam that it gives. Then we had For the Record coming in with one that honestly gets me hyped up even more for this weekend, that being an Infinity War themed camo on the PPSH. Honestly, looking really cool, definitely showcasing the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Stones, as well as the Infinity War title on it. Definitely getting me hyped up for this weekend. Awesome job on that one. Then we have my man Rabid Flea coming in with a couple actually that showcase a little cool wide range of the spectrum of different designs, in which a lot of them are sunset themed and different ocean themes as well. Looking very cool. But again, there is a Looney Tunes one at the end that honestly, that looks pretty spot on. So definitely enjoyed these submissions on that. Then we come in with Charlie coming in with a nice little looking carbon fiber looking effect on the PPSH on one he calls Black Mamba. Definitely looking cool with that one. But then the final one that I want to showcase here for the little bit of honorable mentions goes to my man Carter, who ended up actually making a camo for me. And man, I gotta give him props for getting the logo even on there too, because that is not something that is very easy to do. My logo is not really anything that is very symmetrical or very fun to recreate probably, but he did a great job with that. So huge thank you to you guys for not only submitting them, but again, creating this awesome stuff as well. And that said, before we jump into the top 18, thank you to everybody that did actually submit something here for this. I really am blown away by the participation and what was actually submitted. We had a couple hundred submissions. So for you guys to take the time, not only to create your own paint shops, but then to also submit them to me, like that's humbling. Thank you guys all so much for the submissions and again, being a part of this. So let's just jump right into the top 18. Number 18 is gonna go to my man A-Man, who comes in with a little Starry Night looking type of feature with the moon and the galaxies in the background. And honestly, I think this is one that really utilizes the nice little transition from the STG very well. At first glance, I thought that honestly the moon was a part of the section of the STG that was not editable, but that's something that actually plays in nicely. Again, it just transitions very well into that moon effect, and then also the background of the stars and space effect there as well. So that is gonna kick us off here for that first one. Then we have MADWITHHATS coming in with one that honestly I think utilizes not only the gleam of the camo very well, but also the heroic nature of the Car 98K to his advantage very well. It's got a very clean and a shiny aspect to it, which goes in nicely with the camo that is placed on it when you take a look at it. He calls this Maximum Carnage, to which it's just a little bit of a sort of splatter effect, but also giving a little bit of just some gritty vibes as well. So I think this one, again, just has a nice little feature to it in which it flows nicely with the camo, the heroic nature, and just looks overall pretty nice. The next one we have comes from ZENEFIC Arts, and this one is honestly really cool. I loved the idea of this behind it, but it looks so much better executed as well. This one being a UNTOTEN themed camo within World War II on his sniper, and from this you can end up seeing it's the opening sort of cinematic of the zombies starting to crawl forward, but it looks so nice overall. And of course on the back it has Ascend from Darkness, which just caps it all off as being fantastic. So this one, honestly, a lot of creativity, but also executed perfectly. And then coming after that, we have FANTA coming in with one that is honestly like a cool little rainbow exclusion zone, if you want to put it that way, to which he ends up having, again, just a nifty little gradient, but then the coverage of the black dots and different gritty effects that makes it, again, that sort of exclusion zone vibe. Overall, I think it looks very nice if you guys like something that's cleaner, but also has a little bit more flash to it. This is a great one for you, I think. Number 14 is gonna go to my man Matt, who ends up making a little bit of a blue tiger camo on his Kar 98K. Once again, looking very nice. It's a very clean example of what the blue tiger could be. And of course, that throwback back to the classic camos within Call of Duty and the franchise. Something that honestly, whenever you ended up having to go for camos, this was one of those ones that was super sought after again. And you kind of felt that really nice sense of accomplishment back then in what some would call the prime of Call of Duty, but definitely looking very cool, and especially on that sniper, really gives me some nostalgic vibes there, but love this one. Moving on though, we end up having KHAOSONLINE going into some indie dev here, this one giving us a Shovel Knight shovel. And that was one that honestly I just thought was a little too punny to pass up, but it is executed absolutely perfectly. And of course the gradients, the color schemes, all that fitting very nicely, not only with the theme, but also the execution just looks flawless. Now, if there was some sort of olive green camo that you could apply onto it as well, it would just fit so perfectly with that. Right now he's got a little bit of what maybe is the candy apple camo on an epic variant of the shovel, but that look really clean with a green camo. Number 12 is gonna go to Deadeye Dustin, and this one is a really cool little adjustment to the Totalize 2. I've seen a lot of cool stuff on the Totalize 2 in particular, but this one deals a little bit with the theme that we saw last video, in which we talked a little bit about an American variant on a couple of different weapons that were created. But this one takes that and almost adds a paint chip and sort of fade gradient to this as well, in which only the tip has the American flag on it, and the rest is just that Totalize 2 that you know of already. Honestly, I really like this transition of a half sort of camo to this, and it looks great with that burnt design at the nose of the pistol. I think that honestly looks really cool, and of course the rigid edging that just ends up going directly to the Totalize 2. It almost reminds me of a paint chip effect, which again, I'm really a fan of how this was executed. Coming in after that, GANGOFSQUIRREL is returning with another Nebula design here, this one on the ITRA burst, and I think this one is honestly really cool. It adds almost a layer of not only the Nebula effect, but the multiple stripes going down the sides and above the weapon itself makes for a nice little transition of the actual canvas to what is then the pitch camo on the ITRA burst. It's a nice little almost cut-off effect with this, and I really enjoy this one in particular. Now, I might have a soft spot for the Nebula effect, but really I think the thing that does it for me with this is the transition. Once again, it's almost a seamless cut into that actual camo that the weapon itself is donning. So really a big fan of this one and how this one turned out. So absolutely love this one, rounding in to the number 10 spot. Now, the number 10 is gonna go to Enzo, who actually has a few here. I wanted to feature a couple of them because he submitted multiple designs, and of them, honestly, I couldn't pick my favorite out of them. So again, they are a Dragon Ball 2.0, and a couple of Marvel themed ones as well that really just showcase some sheer talent here at this. And of course, also the dedication to this in terms of time, man, I give mad props for that, because I get frustrated whenever I create something and it'll turn out to be something like 3 layers connecting. Meanwhile, this dude is out here creating some masterpieces, and honestly, I love this. I could not be happier with how some of these look. And honestly, I think the Dragon Ball one, just the color scheme and the transition of everything, I think that might be my favorite of these, but again, all of them are fantastic, so it's really hard to pinpoint which of them all I enjoy the most. Then after that, we have RIGGY coming in with 2 different but similar ones that are both rainbow themed, that honestly, one really reminds me of Spectrum from Ghost. If you guys remember that camo, that was probably one of my favorite camos of Call of Duty history, and honestly, to see this back now on the PPSH looks fantastic, but his one for the M1903 also is killer. That one almost reminds me of like a rainbow sherbet type thing, and yes, I know that's a G Fuel flavor, but I don't know, I get that vibe from it. It's the same sort of color scheme and all that, but it looks very cool, a very vibrant camo for those of you guys that are into that sort of thing, but I think both of these overall are fantastic. Coming in at the number 8 spot is Iziridu, or Iziridu. Apologies if I butcher the name, but this is one for his M1928 Thompson that is entitled Aces, that looks so awesome. honestly, when we talk about things flowing together and creating a little bit of a depth effect on the canvas, this does it perfectly. You can see where it appears to have multiple layers of the cards. The bleed over is seamless in terms of the different sides of the weapon and the top. They all run together perfectly, and it just looks altogether absolutely beautiful. Like, this is honestly one of the coolest and most creative that I think I've seen thus far, and I think that it's executed absolutely brilliantly. So major props for this one, and we're gonna keep moving on with Chris, who ends up coming in with, again, another Marvel theme, getting people ready for Infinity War. This one being called Captain, presumably, of course, for Captain America, but on the PPSH, it looks fantastic. I don't know what variant he was using here, if any at all, but it just looks so brilliant in terms of a sheen that it almost makes me think that it's a heroic variant, but it looks like the default to me. Regardless though, it looks awesome. The stock design is great. The different ribbons going across the upper part of the barrel and then the actual shield on the side in the viewable inspect animation viewable canvas, it all flows together perfectly. This is one that honestly I think looks great even just in the menu, but on the weapon itself, even though you lose a little bit of the actual shield at the stock of the weapon, it still looks incredible to inspect. So absolutely massive kudos with this one. It looks fantastic. Coming in at number 6, we have Shredder coming in with one that kind of carries the theme over from the STG that we saw last week, this being a Red Baron themed M1A1 carbine. Now this, honestly, again, I think looks fantastic. The clean sheen of whatever variant he is using here with this gives it a nice little actual finish on that paint effect, and that is one that honestly I really enjoy about it. It doesn't have much blemishes of an epic variant. It looks just like a clean paint job, and I really enjoyed that one. And of course, tying in with the theme of World War II, and of course, continuing a theme also from last week, I really enjoy the way that this one turned out. Gotta also add props for the medallion hanging off on that weapon charm as well. That looks very cool, and it's a nice little addition as well to the weapon itself. Now, starting out our top 5 countdown, we have Connor coming in with a couple actually, but 2 that I'm really gonna wanna focus on here at this one. This being firstly a magma style exclusion zone, where we have the yellow and red effect that really showcases some nice little gradients with that, but also we end up seeing one that is an M1903 variant that honestly looks really cool. It almost leads into the next number 4 spots a little bit, but not necessarily as much, this being a little bit of a neon floral design that I think is executed perfectly. Of course, the also kind of pattern of a mesh effect, though a sort of very zoomed in variation of that, I think it looks absolutely fantastic on this M1903. And of course, if you like the sort of neon and vibrant approach to this one, you're gonna love number 4. That belonging to Matt Atticus, who entitles this one called Aesthetic, in which it's inspired by Vice City and a lot of different other pop culture themes, in which you also see the Japanese text, which he spelled out to say Matt, but it looks so awesome. I'm a huge fan of the almost Vice City design style in general, and so when you add this into a weapon and you end up seeing it done so well in the sense that you don't really miss much of anything overall on the entire canvas, I think that you can't top that in terms of design style. So absolutely massive job done by Matt, and he did it perfectly. Huge fan of this one, but rolling into the number 3, this is where they start to get crazy. I'm gonna tell you straight up, this is where they really get to be insane. So coming in at number 3, we have FAIRIE with an SVT design that honestly is a nightmare in itself, but a beautiful nightmare at that. This one being for the theme of It. We have Pennywise on the stock of the SVT, and we all float down here on the opposite side of the weapon itself, but I can't even imagine the amount of time that went into not only the texturing and the layering of all this kind of stuff, but it's done so well that it literally looks like just a straight up illustration on the weapon. But when you take into consideration the different stutter effects that happen because of the lag or the grip points for the canvases on the weapons, when you take that into consideration and the challenges that it creates for actually creating a camo on some weapons that are zoomed out a little bit, it's beautiful. Now, number 2, this is where we start to get into the ones that honestly, I'm so blown away by these. I'm a huge fan of these ones in particular because they mimic a lot of CSGO skins, and I got a huge place in my heart for CSGO skins, but nonetheless, number 2 and number 1 are absolutely insane. So coming in at number 2, we end up having Binary, who has 3 given to us here today. It's a little bit of firstly starting out with what looks to be almost like an ASSIMOV, but a sort of Fall Tiger effect on it as well, which I am a huge fan of that. Of course, the 1911 is a fantastic weapon for some quick little short showcases of camos because it looks nice on pretty much anything. Then he took my ASSIMOV variation from last week and honestly made it so much better. It looks absolutely fantastic. I love this one, but the one that really gets me is a Hyper Beast variation that he created for the Car 98K. And if there was one in which you could download this for a paint job save option, this would be one of the ones that I immediately go to because it is a Hyper Beast Car 98 that looks so amazing. I can't even put into words. Like, I am seriously just in awe of how much time this must have taken, how precise and accurate it is, and of course, even on World War II style weapons, it still doesn't even look that bad. Like, a lot of the weapons in CSGO are more so modern, so you think of that, but with World War II, this still fits in beautifully, and I'm seriously just blown away by this one. This is one of the best paint jobs I think I've ever seen, period, in World War II, across all submissions, across all of the posts on Reddit, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever it may be, since the introduction of the paint jobs 2 weeks ago, but it's insane. So that is the number 2 spot with this one, but I honestly have to give the number 1 spot with this week away to my man Digital RAYNE, who honestly recreated not only an artistic masterpiece in the world of art, but he did it almost perfectly on the STG-44. He ends up doing a Starry Night variation for the STG-44, and it looks just insane. I can't put it in any other words than that. I looked at this and I was like, there's absolutely no way this is real and this is actually in-game, but sure enough, here it is. He ends up doing this in brilliant fashion in a sense that, honestly, I don't think that I would have ever imagined it to turn out like this if somebody was saying they were going to be making the Starry Night painting from Vincent van Gogh on the STG. It's next level, man. I truly cannot fathom this, but that is gonna take number 1 here this week, and of course, going to round out our best camos within Call of Duty World War II as presented and created by you guys, the community. So that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed these. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Which is your favorite? Are you absolutely blown away by any in particular? Whatever it may be, feel free to let me know down there in the comment section down below. But that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below. Of course, if you guys want to submit any of yours for a future variation of these sorts of videos, make sure that you drop a like down below. And of course, make sure that you submit your creations down there in the link in the description below. It'll take you to a little form that all you have to do is pretty much give me your name for credit, and then of course just giving me the actual images or videos, preferably of what you end up wanting to be showcased. So if you got something cool, let me know about it so we can showcase it here up on a video in the future. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys subscribe for more paint job stuff like this, and of course also all sorts of updates, tips, tricks, best class setups, all that good stuff. We got you covered here up on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter if you guys are not already. That's the best place to get connected from outside of YouTube. Practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. And finally, if you guys want to follow me over on Instagram, I'm trying to get more active over there as well, so that link is also in the description below. But all that said and out of the way, hope you guys had a fantastic day. Thank you all so much for watching. Mine is Espresso. I'm still blown away by these. Take care and peace.